or good afternoon. I'm with you. I'm with you. Just give me a second here to get things kind of set up. Hello. I'll kind of straighten that up a little bit. Hello to all of you. I'm just kind of get my computer set up here so I can see what's going on. And right with you. Sorry, I was doing a glue up, and I looked down and go, oh, it's 1 o'clock. Oh, so I'm sure you understand how that goes. And there we are. Yeah, there we are. Okay, good. Bring this up so I can see. Okay. Good. All right. Hey, Soldier, your first one in here. Good. Good for you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. The computer keeps wanting to tell me about things I don't care about right now. You ever get there where they always want to update you on stuff that you really don't give a damn about, but they're going to do it anyway. So we are waiting for a few people to get in here, but as I said on the show originally, this is that's interesting. This is going to be a for some reason my thing's not grabbing here. Let's see. This is going to be kind of an odd one today because I don't know what it's going to do. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, my tool rest is giving me trouble. So it's going to be one of those days. There we go. Okay. It's good. It's good. I got it back. We're all good now. Okay. So what else we got here? Message retracted. You're retracting your message. You soliciting you're changing your messages already, Jim? Are you? So okay. So what we've got today, I'll show you here, is we've got this really odd shaped piece of wood. The bark is coming off, which it is going to come off. In fact, I'm going to help that off. Unfortunately, we couldn't save the bark on this piece. As you can see, it's a cork oak, and it's a triangular shape, but it's also wedged in such a way that it angles off here and off here. So it's got a whole bunch of different curves on it, and I've got an occlusion in here that I got to get rid of from a branch. So it's got everything going for it. There was no reason in the world to turn this piece of wood, which is why I turned it. So I looked it over several times, and I finally decided that this was the side that I could get the most action out of by putting it on here, turning this off, and trying to get something out of this. There's probably not going to be much, but we can practice some techniques on the way of doing this. So I'm going to set that down there. Let me get my chisel and my hammer, and we're going to start by cleaning off that brick, or that cork. I've got this really nice chunky chisel. This actually belonged to an old woodworker. I don't know where he got them, but boy, this thing is beefy. Look how thick this is. Okay. And I'm going to bring you over here in the picture a little bit better. But it's a beefy piece, and I'll see if I can get this cork to come off. The cork sticks very well. it really is part of the fiber of the tree. You know, it's not just held on there by the cambium layer. It really does hold on tight. See if we can get in behind it enough to get it to go down. Boy, there we are. I get some of it off. I might have to wait until it just flies off at me when I'm turning. I was trying to avoid that, but we'll give this the whole college try first. It just does not want to come off, which is why it makes for really good live edge bowls, because it really does hold on tight and secure when you're turning. That chunk comes off nice. That piece comes off nice. Why won't you come off nice? Boy, you get over here and it just does not want to come off. Well, that's okay. We will just we'll work with what we got. I'm not going to sit here and belabor the point for 30 minutes. We'll put it on here and we'll take it off the old-fashioned way with our chisels and our gouges. So, pull up here and see what else I got done. Let's see. No, I'm glad I'm not the only one to have those. Yeah, I do have those days. Yeah, I try. And hi, Tim. How you doing? Hey, Slavislas. And we got wow, got a few people in here. Great. Cork oak, lots of ways to skin it, cat. Yep, this is going to be a skinned cat because there's not going to be any cork left. We will see what happens when we just have the oak and nothing else. But that's okay. That's kind of the fun of this, right? So let me put on my helmet. And I set something else down over here. Okay, well, we're going to have to turn this on. Slow it first. I want to make sure I'm not hitting anything. Okay. We're just going to take that off of there. Work it down a little bit. And it's relatively soft, so I think I can go a little bit faster now that I can get down close to it. Great, now I can come in here. There, now I got some room. All right. Keep the speed up a little bit. Remember, if you keep that food at about, well, in this case, about 2 o'clock. This would be 3 o'clock. This would be 12 o'clock. This is about 2 o'clock in my mind. And point it a little bit up this way, not flat across. You get a pretty good cut. And I think I can lower this just here, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I told you it holds on pretty good. So just to give you a little visual, we're about 2/3 of the way into that cork. Haven't even gotten to wood yet. I'm going to try and take a little bit off this way. There we go. Now we can get into work some more. And I think oh, well, that's not good. That's my remote to my heater. I should probably get that. Guess this was jiggling around a little bit more than I expected, huh? Well, we'll put that on there. Put that on there. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to just turn off the heater. There we go. No, I don't need to worry about it. That's actually kind of weird here in California. We went from rains and everything the last couple days and freezing weather, and today it's going to be 75. It's going to be 75 pretty much throughout the rest of the week, 70 to 75 degrees every day. And then we're going to go back into rainstorms again. So it's really, you can almost watch your house kind of extract and contract and come back in again. Need a 2-minute explanation. I bought a skew yesterday, but it's an oval skew. Quick explanation of the difference between it and a standard skew. Well, if you're talking about a slightly curved skew like this, Michael, talking about this, or you're talking about, now I have a flat, straight skew like this one here. That's straight. This one is what they call an arced skew. And I also have a couple scrapers that are basically bullnose scrapers. So which one of those are you referring to exactly? Yeah. The advantage to the arch one actually is in how you present to the wood. And maybe I can give you an example here, actually. Maybe I can use this as an example. With a regular straight skew, you'd be going across like this, and you got to worry about the heel because you don't want to be catching either heel or the point. You want to keep one or the other. By using this arch one, you can actually, it's like so, and the heel moves out of the way. So it has that advantage to it. It also allows you to do slight curves and other things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do with a straight edge skew. So those are a couple of examples of what you can do with it. It's not really the best for something like I'm doing right now, but you get the general idea. Okay. I hope that helps a little bit. Kind of like the standard flat one, but round, and it looks like it rolled to either side of the bar. So it's not like this, because I call this a bullnose scraper. Is it more like this? Or is it rolled out more? I'm not quite sure I'm catching exactly what you mean, but maybe somebody else here can jump in too and help with that question. Okay, let's see how much further I need to go here. I think I'm into the cambia, so I'm almost into the wood now. So we can start treating this like a wood bottom. Okay, and I can get the rest of that off. So good. So I can start shaping this just a little bit now. I can start making a flat bottom. Oops, sorry, little there we go. Start working on a flat bottom. There we go. And you got a little bit concave. We got to work on that just a little bit, but we got basically a flat bottom of real wood now. An oval skew. That's the best I can tell you. I've never heard of an oval skew. I've heard of a bullnose scraper, but never an oval skew. That's a new one on me. But I would say, like anything else, you present it. Is this going to be able to turn? Yeah, I'm going to have to come out here. Okay. You're going to have to present it in such a way that you're only engaging a portion of that blade at one time. So if it's curved, it is going to act more like a scraper, and you can use it slightly at an angle and come up, and you'll get some of the use of the blade, but you're not going to be using much of the blade. Now this is something. I'm doing this for Dave at Timber Designs. The other day he was turning a piece of wood, and I kept saying, come up from the bottom. When I mean come up from the bottom, I mean approach the wood from the bottom here like this with your gouge open at about 10 o'clock and engage at this kind of an angle so that you're coming across it like this and you're engaging the bevel of your blade as you go up the sides. And it's a lot better than standing out here and getting beat to death by coming up underneath the cut a little bit, like so. You notice I'm not getting beat to death. And we're taking out quite a bit of wood at the same time. See that? Now I can come over here. Make sure I cures, and I can carry that on the rest of the way up. In fact, I could probably turn this up just a little bit more speed. Much less stress on you and the tool. Okay. Now, obviously, you did not round it, but you see how much we took off on that first initial cut. The next one will be a lot easier because now we've got this under control here. We'll be able to come under here, and I think we'll be able to control this a lot better on the next cut. And I'm still sharp enough, I think. But this is going to take out a lot of my sharpness of my tool. And now what I'm hitting here, see, look how much I was going in. You see how much I'm taking off? I'm probably taking off more than I really need to. I'll probably take that a little bit lighter. I'll take the cut up here first. Okay. Now I can come back down here and get that other piece. Okay. Now look what we've done in just a couple passes. You see how we got that? So that's really the trick is once you get used to doing this technique, it really speeds up your rounding of a bowl, and it's much less, it feels much less of an attack on you as you're going around. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably going to need to sharpen here pretty soon. Boy, that is really hard wood too. See how we're doing. We are nearing where I'm going to need to be. I'm going to have to take off a little bit more of this so I can get more of a flat bottom in order to use it for a bowl, but you can see where we're really getting flattened out here now. Okay. And if you would please hit that like button or subscribe. I mean, would like to do our normal 100 likes today. Please consider giving us a like. See how on the third or fourth turn around, see how much easier that became? We're now not having to deal with it. I still have this inclusion here, which may or may not stay, but we're putting less pressure on it when we do it this way. So we're not putting as much pressure on the wood. We can stay nice and close to the wood like this. We're not doing this, we're doing this from the bottom up. I'm going to pick the speed up some because now we're much more stable. And the way I can tell that we're coming through cleanly is the chips are not hot. They're cool, so like the wood is. So it's slicing nice and cleanly. It's not creating a lot of heat on the edge of this thing, which means this is still relatively sharp. The wood is nice and hard and solid. Boy, I'm really getting close on this thing, though. I don't know if I'm going to keep that inclusion or not. And we are pretty much rounded. A little bit more to take off here, but I think that's more cosmetic than anything else. This is sort of a cosmetic cut here. There. That was nice. You see how they're coming off now? Nice curls. We got a nice shape out of that last cut. In fact, it's relatively smooth. That looks like that might just stay, which is cool. That'll add a little effect to the place. Now I do need to get this bottom cleaned up a little bit more. So let me get back on here. And we will take off another couple of inches. There we are. So you can't go like this with the face open. You have to have the face pretty closed. Okay, where are we? Got just about enough. I think I need to come up just a little bit more because I need to have enough to have a hold on here, and this wood has to be solid. So I'm going to have to take off more than I wanted to. I didn't really want to take off this much on the bottom, but it's just a necessity in order to get this into a bowl shape. Sounds like my battery in my helmet again. That battery for some reason. Okay, I think we got enough here now. So now I can just kind of straighten this out a little bit. Like that. Curve that a little bit. And we'll flatten the bottom off with our skew. Yeah, traditional tools do take a bit of getting used to, but the thing is, this is actually built better for doing what I just did than a carbide would. A carbide is going to be like this, flat against it, and as each one of those things come around like this here, what's going to happen is it's going to hit and skip and hit and skip, and you're going to be doing this, bam, 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 all the way along, and you're not going to get that nice clean cut through the side grain and so forth. This will get you that cut through the side grain much better in my opinion. So that's why I go with that technique. I do have roughing gouges, but I don't think a roughing gouge is the way to go, because then you're just taking on all that battering for no reason. I think we are pretty good there. Here. Yeah, pretty good. So we got a flat bottom. I don't mind this little dimple here. It'll work its way out as we go. I'm going to come on the side here and just kind of make sure that we got a nice clean finish on this. And I'll use my blow nose for that. I'll use this blow nose, what I call scraper, for this. And we're just very lightly making sure that we keep the shape. We're going to have a little bit of a dentation here that I need to take out, so that's where I need to work. So working on this curve. We're working on this, coming up. And it's got to be, I'm looking up here to see my lines. Okay, that looks pretty good. I've got this inclusion still staying on there, which is great. I think just for my, if I can find some here, I think I'll put just a little bit of CA glue on there just to make sure it stays on at this point. Before I do any sanding or finishing. On there, we might as well make sure it's right. I think a little bit of that thin CA work its way right in there and be no problem at all. Let that kind of work in for a minute. So let me catch up here. I have a 1/2-inch spindle and a bowl gouge and a 1.5-inch roughing gouge. I do too. And just getting the skew, but the first will do everything you want and still mix. Yeah, remember the spindle gouge is for your spindle work, not for bowl work. Okay, and I know you don't do much bowl work. You're doing mostly pins and things like that right now. So the spindle one is fine. This is my spindle gouge I like to use, and I use that. I'll be using that right here in a minute. But I do have a roughing gouge that is pretty damn big. See if I can find it here. And the thing is, you can use it. This is my smaller one. This is my smaller roughing gouge, just about an inch. So Sorby, and you can use it. But the thing, look at how it's built. It is built making that whenever that one of those little bumps comes around, it goes bang, bang, bang. Now, yes, it will cut. And if you approach it like this, where you put the heel right here and then come down a little bit, when it's turning, you just barely engage, that will help. But when we were trying to turn something that had all those weird angles on it, it just was not the tool for the approach that I needed to make this work. So that's why I went with the method I did. And everybody's got to work with the tools that they've got, right? That's the thing. So don't whatever you can use in your shop to make it work, use that to make it work. But yeah, that's one of the ones or ways that I do it. But coming up from the side like this just utilizes this tool to its max. So I just wanted to point that out. Now, what we're going to do now it's got a chance to dry just a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to put my tenon in the bottom here, and we'll do that with this right here. Okay, that's to get us started. And I will use my skew. I'm going to clear that out. I know I need to make it a little bit bigger in order for the chuck to work, but I just wanted to get that started so we get an idea. Let me eyeball it. Yeah, I got to come out a little bit. Okay, so now let's make it chuck worthy, I guess would be the phrase, right? Right about here, maybe. And we do want a slight dovetail to this. So this has just a little bit of an angle to the edge here, create sort of a dovetail to help with the grip. I don't think that's quite there, but I think we're close. Let's see. Yeah, we're right on the verge of it. Okay, I'll make it a little bigger. Always easier to make it bigger than it is to go back and add stuff in after if you take too much off. And I don't like to have a big hole here because you get a much better grip the more close this is to circular. Okay, we've talked about that in the past. So am I in the ballpark now? I am now in the ballpark. Okay, one more little quick turn ought to get me just right where I need to be. Okay. And let's see where we're at now. Yep, I'm right in there. I'm right in there now. Okay, good. I'll just clean that up a little bit, and we'll be sanding and ready to turn this thing around. And we've turned this sand piece of wood that probably should have been chucked. And well, we're hopefully going to turn this into a nice little bowl. Probably a bigger bowl than we thought we would have, actually. Clean that bottom up just a little bit. There we go. See, if you use that skew right, that's almost sanding worthy right there. That's almost like sanding right there. That's good. All right, so get my sander here, and we'll give this a little nudge towards being done. And I'm going to just kind of do this by hand here because I don't want to create any little marks or anything. Okay. Over that section. This end grain is always so interesting because it wants to lay over. It doesn't want to cut. You want to make sure you have good, sharp sandpaper, and you want to make sure that it's cutting the wood, not laying it over. Otherwise, you're going to get a very muddy finish on the wood because it's going to be laid over wood instead of sanded crisp edged wood. Let's see here. Well, hey, Johnny. How you doing? Good to see you guys in here. I see I have a little crack right here. And you know, I'm probably going to want to take care of that too. I didn't see that before. But I've got a crack coming right here. For no particular reason either. There really isn't a good reason for that. I'm not sure why it's there, but let me see. Let me put a little bit of glue in there. There we go. Running out of thin glue there. So I hope that'll work. Problem with thin glue is it takes a little bit longer to dry. And I don't want to put any quick dry on it because it will you put quick dry on it, it will bubble up and actually sometimes don't get as good of a hold on it either. Let me do that. We'll come around on that again. It should be dry by the time I come back around on this one. All right. So if you don't even see that there was any glue there, maybe. If I sand it properly. Okay. Okay, got that. Go down to another grit. Don't get too disappointed here. This is part of what happens when you're doing a bowl. Is you have to do the sanding part. If you don't, you'll regret it later. You want to get that sanding on there. You want to get a little pre-finish on it before you turn it over. And once we turn it around and we're going into the bowl, we have a little less control over everything. I just want to make sure that I get here. Good. That bottom's looking real nice. You never know that was all bark at one time. We got done with that part. So I got 26 likes so far. We'd like to get a lot more than that. We got 130 some odd people in here. So if you would please hit that like button, and if you haven't become a subscriber yet, I'm not sure what's holding you back, but we're heading towards 5,000 subscribers. And if you're a subscriber, you get notified if there's a new video I'm doing, or if there's when my next live is coming out. You get advance notice of that, and you're able to tune in and see what we're doing. And if you want to become a member, we do have memberships now. I think I fixed it. So I went and looked the other day, and somebody said it was charging $1.99, but I checked it and it's set up for 99 cents. So I'm not sure what is that, but your membership should be 99 cents. And if it's coming up something different, please let me know. But memberships are only 99 cents, and that will allow you to see. We'll be doing some extra videos. You'll get to see some things out before other people get to see them. And we'll probably start having a few members only lives once we get enough members to make it worthwhile doing. So you might want to consider that, but there's no obligation on your part. There's going to be plenty of live free stuff here also, but it does help the channel a little bit. I'm sure you understand. Okay, well, I think they got that cleaned off as much as I can. Let me wipe it off. Some of the dust off of there. And then we will proceed with the finish. There we go. Just so you can kind of get an idea of what this is going to look like when it's all done. And I love that nice golden color that the yolk starts to get. We are going to turn another piece of wood too that's not oak a little later on. So be ready for that too. Okay. What do you think of that color? Does that look a little nicer? I don't know if I can offset that color lightly a little bit. There. That's what it's going to look like. What do you think? I'll try and get you a little bit closer here so you can see it. There we go. Oh, pretty nice piece. Pretty nice piece. Now I'll spin this down a little bit. Wipe it off. For now. I just shellacked myself, or just tongue oiled myself, I should say. Okay. Yeah. It's going to need a little more sanding and it's going to need a little bit more finish, but that is the idea right there. And it feels pretty nice, so that's good. Let me take this off of here. There we go. All right. And we will bring it back down over here again. We will take that off. My faceplate. Oops. The wrong thing in here. There we go. Okay. A lot of torque. Ooh, come on. There we go. Whew. That one didn't want to cooperate. There we go. This over here. Okay. Now we can put the chuck on. Put this in. And tighten down. Perfect. A quarter turn and we're already tightened. Let me turn this on. Looks a little bit off, so let me see if I can't straighten it out just a little bit more. That's pretty good. And just a very, 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 very slight off, and that's not enough to worry about. Okay, but here I have to pull a battery out of my helmet real quick here, and I'll be right back. So, what's everybody working on? I've been doing a lot of. I don't know about you guys, but I've been doing a lot of stuff getting ready for spring because everything around here is already blooming, and I mean by blooming I mean blooming. We're getting like we're getting all sorts of our fruits and everything are blooming up right now, and it's become quite the challenge to keep up with. Because as rain comes, you lose some of those flowers, and you don't want to lose your fruit. So, you carved a pig and a mushroom. I hope you meant that you carved a piece of wood into a pig or a mushroom. You weren't carving a pig itself. But to each their own. Okay. There we go. Now we're starting to get some movement there. Yep. You kind of have to establish that outer edge so that the bevel has something to stand against when you're digging down in and scooping out the next layer of wood. I think I am going to need to go and sharpen this. It doesn't feel like it's making really good shavings right now. So I think I'll step over here and sharpen for just a second. And of course that edge is going to have to get cleaned up too. But give me just a moment with this. You'll notice so far we've done this entire bowl basically with one gouge. And that's why when people say, you know, what gouges do I need and all, you need a gouge that you can grind to a position where you can use it for most of what you're turning. And then you may need a couple accessories, like a spindle gouge, for instance, or a skew to do those little details that you can't quite get with your gouge. So a lot of times you'll see me using one tool through most of the project. So that's kind of the way I learned, was using my one gouge with this particular grind that I have on it. And that seems to work for me. That's not going to work for everybody. It's just what I've become really accustomed to doing. If I get too far along here, I want to get this edge straightened out. If I got most of that. Yeah, it looks like I did. Okay, good. All right, good. Now I can get down in here. And you see the difference the sharpening made.